And welcome, and great to have you watching the Bowls New Zealand YouTube coverage of the Summerset National Singles and Pairs. And there should be some exciting bowls action coming up today. It's from Browns Bay Bowling Club. Conditions not ideal as such, but we are here and we are watching the Open Disability Singles. And on the screen, well, we do have Hazel Littlejohn and Lynda Bennett. Bennett from Te Awamutu, Hazel Littlejohn from Darfield in Canterbury. And should be an exciting one there, Alex Reid.
Yes, it will be. It should be a good game. As you said, we're down to the quarterfinals now, so these players have both qualified for post-section, and you can see there's a little bit of wind today, Dave.
I think that's quite a strong part. There has been some scattered showers going across the greens as well. We're using around about 20 different clubs around the Auckland region. This particular rink running, parallel to the clubhouse. And we do have in the Open Disability Singles 30 entrants, Open Disability Pairs 14. It has been a huge event so far, right across the whole tournament. Men's pairs 205 entrants. We'll have 328 in the men's singles, women's pairs 88, and the women's singles 127. We'll be keeping you up to date with all of the action all around the clubs as well, with those results everywhere, Alex. And this afternoon, as we said, this is a quarterfinal, Hazel Littlejohn against Lynda Bennett. And then later on this afternoon, we'll have a semi-final that should be around about 2:30. We'll let you know about that scheduled time. But in the meantime, Alex, I think we do have on the line with us, the marker. And who have we got there, Alex? I can see his legs in the background.
Mr. Kevin Smith, can you hear us, Kevin?
I can hear you, Alex and Dave. Greetings to you.
Oh, how good is technology?
Good when it
nearly
works.
A great bowl there. So can you talk to us, but Kev, you're out there in the weather. What is it like?
It's a fairly tough wind today, blowing from, as the players stand now, blowing from left to right, from the sea towards the clubhouse. It's fairly consistent wind, strongish, but there are some gusts from time to time steering bowls just a little. But the green is in beautiful condition and probably running 15 maybe. But the wind is tough, but at present time, of course, it's dry. Just prior to coming to air, you possibly weren't aware of it. On the road opposite, a palm tree, we don't know whether it was a big large branch came down or a part tree came down, was a good example of the wind today.
A whole tree fell down?
Yes, just across the road.
And Kevin, can you just explain to us, for some of us who don't quite know the competitors, now who have we got here with the blue bowl?
So the blue bowl on the mat at the present time is Lynda Bennett from Te Awamutu. And Lynda's been around playing bowls for 13, 14 years, a very prominent Waikato player, played for the rep team many times. I understand she may have around 9 centre titles. Sorry, question? Yes.
There you go, you got that one measured all right. And Hazel Littlejohn with the orange or brighter ball.
So Hazel is from the Darfield Bowling Club, 40 miles west of Christchurch, approximately. And Hazel's one of the New Zealand deaf bowler representatives. So this has been great, this tournament, to have the deaf bowlers included for the first time in the Disability Nationals. And Hazel's in the New Zealand team going to the World Championships in Scotland around September. So Hazel's I'm not sure now whether she's a 6th or 9th year player. I think she's a 6th year player, but prominent down there as well.
And Kevin, we're on the, so we've gone through about how many ends would you estimate so far? About 3 or 2?
This is the second end, and
right.
On the first end before you came to air, Hazel was actually holding the shot, and with her last bowl trying to add, she moved the jack to go 1 down, and then on the second end, just pause there.
You just go ahead, Kevin. Let them know what's going on.
2 down. So on the second end, Lynda was a little wide and heavy, but came off a wide bowl and came in and got the shot on top of the jack. So it's 2-0 presently to Lynda Bennett.
Brilliant. Okay, well, thank you, Kevin, and thanks for that little introduction. We'll call back to you a few times over this game. Enjoy the weather.
Thank you.
All right, there we go. That's great. That was real live. I mean, it was live. He was having to say 2 down. And here we go. What do we got with this one? Where's it going to go here, Alex?
It looks like she's on the back end on that wind there again.
Oh,
You're
it's
just
caught it, hasn't it?
from the right to the left, and look at it. Gets carried away. So it's going to be 2 there to Lynda Bennett. And this game is first to 21, Dave.
Yeah, 2 for the blue. Yes, we'll look at the balls. Oh, she's just doing a little bit of a check. Huh?
Just having a look.
Circle round.
Walk around, yeah.
2.
Yep.
Lynda 4-0.
Okay, so there you go. It was 2 there. Our marker, Kevin's just said straight up 2 and going to 4. So Lynda Bennett with the blue, and it is Hazel Littlejohn with the orange, or I guess it is orange. And straight away they're at it. He hasn't even walked down that end yet. And the ball's following him. And that looks...
Working right into working this jack here. Doesn't look like it's going to stop.
Interesting that the wind isn't necessarily going across the green. There seems to be a little bit
Lynda.
with it.
Lynda.
Kevin has missed his target there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the wind coming across almost diagonally across the green there, Dave, is going to cause real challenges for these players.
Particularly, well, one end, this end, it's very strong behind the bowls. And I guess at the other end, it's probably almost pushing it to the side more. We go a little bit shorter this time.
So Hazel delivering the jack to that halfway mark between the 2 metre marks there, the tees that you see.
Well, it's not necessarily cold out there. It's just the wind and a little bit of rain at the same time. And we're not talking about heavy rain. We're talking about spitting rain, just enough to actually knock the tennis off the courts as well, the OSB Classic.
Yeah.
Having a big struggle there. And our people outside, Tamara, and who else is outside with the cameras, etc.?
Oh, in and out, there's going to be Brendan and Phil. And we thank them for their sacrifice. I'm quite happy and warm inside this room.
There may be a little bit of bitterness against us right now, but that's okay. I'm sure they'll get us back.
No doubt. We see Hazel Littlejohn here on her forehand side.
So I think it's fair to say, Alex, that there will be quite a wide spread of bowls here. Well, that's what we're expecting today. We're not going to see tight games in the sense we're not going to see them tight around the jack. It's just
the challenge.
too difficult.
Yeah, the challenge becomes different. And what a great bowl there from Hazel. Look how much it's finishing across. In conditions like that, the challenge is more about trying to get your bowl close to the jack. We don't see a lot of what we call shot play. It's very hard to have the confidence to play through bowls or play little plants. You'll see dead draws or real quick drives here today to try and combat those conditions. So it's a different challenge, and every bit as stressful as a game where the conditions are perfect.
Although this is coming around nicely. Is it going to stop?
Just slightly overplayed there from Lynda Bennett. Halfway in between the two. I think we saw yesterday, Dave, for viewers who tuned in, we watched Minna Paul play Lynda Ralph in conditions not dissimilar to this. It was probably a little bit less dramatic on the wind, but we saw those two players cope with the conditions magnificently, and we did see some tight heads there. So just wait and see how it goes, I suppose, today.
I think yesterday the issue was they had the wind, but they didn't quite have the, I guess, spitting kind of rain where you're almost squinting a little bit. Yesterday was just plain wind.
Yeah, it was.
Today it's wind, which seems to be a little bit stronger, and also the threat of a bit of misty rain coming at you as well. So it just makes you feel a little bit more unpleasant. Now this one hasn't taken up as much green, so how far is it going to swing?
That's the question. It depends if it gets to that orange bowl in time. She didn't have quite the weight there, and looking like Hazel has a good opportunity to score her first point. We spoke to Kevin at the beginning, and it's great to have that technology on, incidentally, but we spoke to Kevin at the beginning, and he said Hazel was holding the shot and gave it away early on, so she'll be looking to, you want to score early in a game of singles. It's nice just to get that first point on the board, something to work from the Darfield club on her backhand. And that's not wide. But sometimes the wind is gusty enough. Let's just watch to see what happens to this bowl.
Oh, that was beautiful. A little bit of...
Well, if she played for it,
off.
fair call. But I would say there's probably a little bit of fortune connected to that one.
It looked as though it was sailing way wide. And instead came around.
Oh, Lynda giving this one a look. Member of the Commonwealth Games team to travel up to the Northern Hemisphere this year was Lynda Bennett.
Well, if you're going to hit mine, I'm going to hit yours.
Yeah, that seems to be the thing. And Kevin now, let's see if he knows. One to the red, which is one to Hazel Littlejohn there. Hazel, a member of the Deaf Bowls New Zealand team, so a bit of sign language.
Yeah, you can see the sign there. She was talking to someone via the sign language. Yeah, we'll just see what she can do here. Takes it out quite wide.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think she's actually going to play her backhand. It's just how she holds the bowl first.
Oh, you can hear the wind through the microphones there.
There we go. Hazel Littlejohn on the backhand, holding one, looking to make it two. And you see she's compensating for the wind in a big way there. Oh, she's already sliced the jack once. Is she going to do it again? She would have been in full panic there.
Oh.
I'm not actually sure what she was trying to do.
Well, she wasn't going for any of Lynda Bennett's bowls.
Well, there's nothing to hit there, Dave.
Oh, so
maybe she was looking to trail the jack all the way back, or it might have slipped out of her hand or something. But
she has the advantage there? Or?
Yeah, she's holding one. So I suspect that just slipped out of her hand, to be honest. And I think it would have been quite stressful if you were Hazel to watch that bowl career towards the jack and potentially zip it over to Lynda's, but not to be.
And the winner of this contest, Hazel Littlejohn against Lynda Bennett, will face either Anthony Broderick or Patrina Riley. And Riley from Whakatane and Broderick from Morrinsville. And that will be the semi-final at the top of the draw. However, at the bottom of the draw, we have Sue Curran from Clawlands up against Darren Woodland from Waikiwi, that is, sorry. Oops, from the Southland area. And Graham Skellerin from Takapuna up against Carolyn Crawford from St. Clair. That's the other quarterfinals at the bottom of the draw. And we can see that Hazel Littlejohn on the board there. That was after the third end. And very square on her
just
delivering the jack.
Delivering the jack there. Now watch what the wind does to this. You can learn a lot from a jack throw, although on a day like today, it's pretty clear which way the wind's going. But if you know you've thrown the jack straight, you always watch what the jack does, and it can teach you things about either the levelness of the green or what the prevailing wind seems to be doing. And the jack not quite making it there, so it gets redelivered by Lynda Bennett. See Carolyn Crawford to the right of our screen there in her quarterfinal match against Graham Skellerin.
Yep.
And Lynda Bennett delivering the jack now to her length. And, you know, at the risk of putting a hoodoo on it, it looks like the rain may stay away today, Dave, potentially.
It depends which side of the street you're on.
So I'm full of optimism.
Although there is flying palm trees by the sounds of it.
Yes, yeah, Kevin mentioned that earlier on. And there we go. Hazel on her backhand side. That pre-shot routine where she holds the ball out to her side first before she gets started and playing that wide hand.
Let's see how much of a swing around she's got, and it may actually be too much.
Well, it's an interesting... it doesn't have quite the weight. It'll be intriguing to watch because we had two games we've spoken about yesterday already, I know. We had a prevailing one yesterday too where it was going towards the clubhouse, so we had a swinging hand on one side and a straight hand on the other. And in the first game, both players persisted with the swinging hand, and in the second game, they both persisted with the straight. So I'll be interested to see, as we see Lynda here on the straight hand, what these players end up preferring. It's personal choice, really. Conventional wisdom, usually you'd try and stick to the straighter hand because you don't get robbed quite so much.
Just taking it out wide again. Looks to have a little bit more juice on it than last time, but perhaps too much.
Yeah, slightly overplayed. As we watch this bowl come back to the 2 metre mark. And the the frustrating thing as a player in these conditions, because you can hear the wind is it's a gusty wind, not a consistent one, as we'll see them take the same green twice, and the bowls will end up in different places on occasion. Lynda Bennett looking to make a correction on her forehand side. That's a good bowl there from Lynda.
I'd have to say that's probably the best that we've seen so far, or one of the best so far. Managed to actually hold the distance nicely and the pace.
Lovely shot. And Hazel Littlejohn needs to find something in between the first two. Watch this bowl. The green looks okay. How's the weight from Hazel here? It's not far away, Dave.
Coming around nice. It's still going. It's still coming around.
Now she's going to stop. Beautiful shot. Look at that. Brilliant bowl from Hazel Littlejohn, as Kevin Smith indicates one to her.
You know, I think it actually got stopped by her opponent's bowl.
That's certainly what it looked like, and she'll be pleased with that result. Lynda, same. Oh, she's not happy with that.
It looks as though we're about to lose the manual scoreboard at the back there, actually. I think they might have to really nail that down a little bit.
Oh, we've lost a pine tree.
Yeah.
And Lynda, she'll be gutted with that, because the weight, if you look at the weight of the bowl, absolutely perfect weight, but it was always wide, wasn't it? The moment she let it go, it didn't look like it was going to come back. So Hazel now on the back end again.
This is her final of the third end.
Yeah,
and going extremely wide and extremely strong.
One down.
Well, she's still got the one. Now, what are you going to do here?
Well, she's got no back bowls, so there's no point in being aggressive here for Lynda. She'll just look to persist on that forehand side.
Looked fairly smooth.
Willing it to turn it to straight hand. You can't take green on the straight hand. So your bowl, see there, it just never looked like it was going to come back. And slightly overplayed. She may have, with that weight, been looking to rest through the orange, but not to be anyway. So one more to Hazel Littlejohn now, 2-4, and what could be a marathon of a game, Dave.
One to Hazel.
Well, we've only had a couple of ends, or 3 ends.
Call it early.
You have called it early. And 2-4 down now for Hazel Littlejohn.
So we can see in the background some of the post section.
We will continue to update the scores from the men's pairs and the women's singles as we go throughout the day. In fact, probably by the end of the next end, shall we do a bit of an update?
Yeah, it looks like we've got the results through for the majority of those games. So we'll have an update at the end of the next end.
And let's see how this jack goes. Seems relatively smooth so far, but holding up.
Made it
very short, isn't it?
It's the first jack we've seen delivered by legally by the player who was meant to deliver it, though, Dave. We saw jacks thrown into the ditch and out of bounds and all that sort of stuff with the wind. So I suppose Hazel will be pleased that at least Lynda's not having to, or getting the opportunity to set her own length on this. And Hazel looking like she's picked that swinging hand as her favoured side.
It's holding up very nicely as well. No, it's not. You could have sworn it would have stopped.
That's the thing with bowls, isn't it? You get false hope, but an okay start there. And now Lynda switching to the forehand side. So Lynda chopping and changing a little here. Just trying to find the hand that she's most comfortable on. And beautiful line. That's the perfect green, and not quite the weight there from Lynda Bennett.
Well, Alex, yesterday we talked about cold conditions, but what about the windiest conditions? And I think some of the viewers, I think if we just ask them to think about the windiest conditions they have ever played in.
I think any of the Wellington bowlers.
Well, that's just been rude. But no, I think if people think around the country about some of those windy conditions they have survived or won in or lost in, be really interesting if they can think back to that. What about yourself, Alex? Can you think of one particular time that you played and it was just so extremely windy that you're thinking, why are we doing this?
Yeah, it's unfair to Auckland, but I have had a couple of moments in Auckland, which is where we are now, where the weather gets a bit extreme and you just shake your head, but it's all part of the challenge. And look at this correction here from Lynda Bennett. That's a beautiful bowl and very challenging conditions indeed. And Kevin Smith giving that a bit of chalk. And Hazel Littlejohn weighing up her options. looking like she's going to switch sides of the rink here, Dave. And looking just... The good thing about bowling clubs, they've usually got flags everywhere, so you can you get an indication of what's happening and where. I wonder if we're going to see some aggression here. On the backhand, yeah, she's playing an aggressive bowl. Close here from Hazel. Look at the wind, take it out. Oh my goodness gracious me.
That was disappointing. She actually cleared her own bowl out of it.
I mean, the line she took, it is unbelievable that it just didn't turn, did it? It actually went against the bias, which bowls aren't supposed to do.
No.
Well played bowl there from Hazel. And she was going to ask how many down she is here. If she's only one down, we may see aggression again. If she's more than one down, which she will be with this one of Lynda Bennett. So now look at that get caught by the wind. I think she probably has to draw to save. Try and get a second shot. Looks like she switched to her forehand side. In the background, Jamie Hill just delivering a bowl. Won the Peers last time it was in Auckland, and Hazel Littlejohn does not have the green here.
Really have the drive there, and it's too short, and still turning and still turning.
That's a poor bowl from Hazel, and I think she's about to drop 4 points.
So you're thinking 4 at the present time?
Well, Lynda should be holding 3 by a camera angle, and
2 in a measure.
We've got a 2. Is that third? Oh yeah, the third one in front of quite a way in front. So it is potentially
2 and a measure.
a 2 and a measure. There you go. Thank you very much there, Kevin.
brilliant.
So where's she going to go? Just nice and gentle?
Yeah,
She knows she's got 2, possibly 3.
as she's done here, you just focus on taking your green. The wind is going to blow the bowl back into the head, as we see here. Look at this bowl, just right back into the head. So all Lynda would have been thinking is just
that's nice.
take the bowl out, give it a chance to drift back in. I think Hazel's gone for a toilet stop, so that's a good time for me to talk through some of the post-section results, which you can find. She's back, which you can find on the Bowls New Zealand website on Bowls Hub Aotearoa. So the men, they played.
Which button do they press again if they want to see?
Well, for post-section, you want to click draw. Draw will work. You've got matches, draw entries, and broadcast schedule. Draw is the one, and we had over 64 qualifiers.
Yeah,
So we're just checking on a measure here because at the moment it is 3.
Kevin, a man of many talents, now doing the measuring as well.
So we'll just wait on those results as we check to see if it's 3 or 4. 4 would certainly be a huge advantage going out to weight 2. Getting a 4 anytime. We saw a couple of 4s yesterday.
We did, and for both players. That 4 certainly early on in this game would be. There we go. Pleasing for Lynda.
I think it's a 3.
Yeah, be there. 3.
So 3 it is. So
3
Lynda
it
Bennett
is.
taking a.
Look at that, painting the picture for us. A 3 and up to 7-2 for Lynda Bennett from Te Awamutu from the Waikato.
Cool. So I'll just quickly scroll through these post-section results and see if there's any notable ones. So first up, of course, Mike Bradshaw and Neville Hill played Morris Symes and Brian Symes, which was a big clash. Some real names of bowls there. Morris and Neville playing in a New Zealand team together in the 90s, with Bradshaw and Neville Hill coming out 13 points to 9. The winner there, that being played at Birkenhead Bowling Club. There's also a close game between Shane Drabble and Logan Clark over John Carruthers and Bill Whitburn. Drabble and Clark coming out the 17-16 winners in that game. If I scroll a bit further down, Finbar McGuigan and Robbie Bird, who are one of the ones expected to go well at this event, defeated Steve Toff and Nick Thompson 19-9. Also at Birkenhead, Rory Soden and Scott Evans, some of the favourites for the title as well, won their first round 19 points to 13 over Paul and Mark Daniels. And we've also got Ray Martin and Will Bennett. Ray, a previous winner of this event, winning their game 13-11. And a couple of other interesting ones too that have sort of popped through, but you can have a look for yourself on the Bowls New Zealand website. Just go there and have a nosy at the results. It'll take you to Bowls Hub Aotearoa. Click draw and scroll through as the results come in.
Well, we've had one in the ditch and the other one just a little bit too long. So put on the 2-metre mark as we get ready for what will be the 4th end. But we're going up to 21 anyway. And Lynda Bennett up against Hazel Littlejohn. And this is Bennett here with the blue ball.
And on her forehand now, so she just played 3 brilliant bowls on the big swing and now opting to play the straight hand. So perhaps prefers her forehand side. Might be going forehand round the clock because this is a good bowl as well, Dave.
And it looks to be holding up beautifully as well.
Great shot there from Lynda Bennett.
And now we see the response from Hazel Littlejohn. And she had a big end to go against her there. 3 at the last one. Let's see what she can do here. Goes out wide, then swings into her body. And going on the backhand.
Yeah, on that big swing. This is close here from Hazel Littlejohn. That's 2 great bowls in extreme conditions.
Oh, look at that.
Well played.
Is it going to sit anyway? Is it going to stay upright? It's going to stay upright. If it sits towards the jack, it's almost perfect.
Yeah, she would have been willing that one to sit down. It's interesting that Lynda here is opting to stay on her forehand. She won't be looking for the shot here. She'll be looking to draw past the head so she can switch the other side and move the jack towards her position bowl.
All right, let's see if you're right.
Of course I'm right. We'll just see how it goes, though. She might not have executed what she was trying to do.
And is she going to knock it away a little bit? Not much, nope.
That still helps her cause, though. It's another bowl there or thereabouts.
The last bowl. Front of the bowl is level with the middle of the jack.
Kevin projecting his voice very well there.
Exactly.
That wasn't quiet.
So what he was saying was, what was he saying, Alex? What was he?
So the question from Hazel is, was the bowl jack level, which means, well, that's what it sounds like.
Straight.
Is it level with the jack? And he just said the front of the bowl is level with the jack, so it means it's slightly.
Okay, so slightly behind, but very close.
Yeah, you could say it's half.
We'll
a
have
bowl.
a look at the orange bowl here of Hazel Littlejohn. And she's going out on the backhand again. She got a great late turn last time. This is a slightly earlier turn.
And just dying in the hole. It's a common saying, obviously. And it might, Lynda Bennett will look at this. She'll think, I've got second and third shot. Shall I be aggressive now? It may cross her mind to just play with a little bit more conviction with this third one. I think that's what she's sort of looking at doing. It's taking a high line, though. Look at the wind. It's going to catch this bowl. Like a sailboat, not coming back at all.
Well, previous 2 were fantastic in that they didn't deviate or didn't get carried away to the left of the screen. Instead, they stayed quite tight. That one, though,
Just deviated out here. And it's really important here that Hazel Littlejohn gets another bowl on the head, or I think we'll see some aggression from
well, she's got
Lynda
one
Bennett.
at the moment, hasn't she? She's got 1 point at the moment.
Yeah, she's got one, but it looks like a lonely bowl to me. Like this bowl here, this is going to be good. She needs to get another bowl on the head, just as she's trying to do. Around that one and sit.
Oh.
Not to be. So Lynda may ask Kevin what the situation is. She's got second and third. No, just opting to stick to the draw. Fair enough in these conditions, I suppose. On her forehand side.
This is a lot tighter. Possibly too tight, do you think?
Yeah, but it's a better way to miss, and she could get a good result here. Not to be. 3 good bowls there from Lynda Bennett, really. They were right in the area.
At the moment, it's just a 1 point to Hazel Littlejohn, and it should stay that way. And she's coming down for a little bit of a look. She'll get blown down the green.
Certainly feels that way. As Hazel comes to have a look. Is this a good time? Should we talk to Kevin again, Dave?
Let's see if Kevin's available. Kevin, if you're with us, probably having
Certainly,
a little bit
David.
of a look there.
I was going to say, it sounds like you're around one of those boards.
That's how you're holding up there, Kevin.
No, it's not too bad. It's in the Christchurch where I come from. It'll be a freezing cold southerly, be cold, but here, of course, in the Auckland region, it's windy but warm.
Okay, but that's what we like to hear. As long as you're not freezing, that's a good thing.
I enjoy that positive attitude, Kevin. That's great. Could you just have a chat to us now a bit about this Open Disability Singles, because it's the first year that Bowls New Zealand has run this event, isn't it?
It is. For the last 3 years, Bowls New Zealand have played a vision impaired singles, and at the same time played a disability para bowls singles, physically disabled. But for the first time this year, it's an open disability event, and so there are no classifications required to play in this event. People need a medical condition that affects their bowls to play in this event, as we see Hazel drop short there, and she's holding one, of course. So we have vision impaired, we have physically disabled, we have deaf players playing for the first time in a national Bowls New Zealand national event, and players who have a medical reason for playing with a bowling arm can also compete in this event. 1-2 Hazel team.
Cool. So we see Hazel there pick up 1 point, 3 points to 7. Can you just talk to us quickly, Kevin, about how this first event has gone? How did it go? How was the section played? Did you get a good response?
Always would like more playing, but it was a great response for the first time for the open disability. I think people were uncertain how level the playing field was going to be. The vision impaired players potentially people considered might have been at a disadvantage, but all players competed fantastically. The competition, the standard was very good in challenging conditions. And what was one of the most fascinating things, I think, of the whole event was that there were 3 players who have no classification, B1 to B4 in the vision impaired or B5 to 8 in the para bowls world. They have no classification, but they have medical reasons to play, and 3 players came out of the woodwork to compete at this national championship, and they would never have been here otherwise. So it's opening a pathway for others who would like to play to come and join in this great sport of ours.
So Kevin, it really sounds as though it's a great starting point that can be developed and in years to come should actually be bigger and better even.
We're certainly optimistic that will be the case. I think certainly all the participants here have had a great time. They all talk about the camaraderie of the event, the competition they enjoy playing. They're playing against a wider field rather than their own disability category. And so vision impaired players playing against para bowlers, playing against deaf players, has been a wonderful mixture in the wider disability community, and people have loved taking part.
Well, that's great stuff there, Kevin. We'll let you get on with your precise measuring. And in fact, this one's going to be very close as well. So thank you very much. We'll come back to you a little bit later on.
Thank you, guys.
And what a great bowl that was there from Hazel Littlejohn, putting 2 right close to the jack, sort of within a foot there, Dave. And I'm going to say a lot of times today, but I cannot stress how challenging these conditions are. So great bowls there from Hazel Littlejohn.
Well, you know I'm going to come back to you, Alex, about the worst conditions you played in. And I really do want people around the country, as Kevin said, that if you had this wind where he's from in Canterbury, it would be bitterly cold. In Auckland, it's warmer, but it doesn't feel that pleasant outside because there is that hint of rain coming at you, a little bit of spit here and there, misty rain. And I'm sure viewers and listeners can actually come up with some times in their mind, think back, you may not want to think back, to those times that have just been, well, windy is a very windy thing, whatever that may be.
A very windy thing.
Exactly. You can debate on how windy a very windy thing is, but think about those worst conditions that perhaps you played in. And just have a little think. And you could, if you've got Alex's number, you can text him. Otherwise, you can put it on YouTube or Facebook. He's saying, don't text me.
Plenty do. And what did we see there, Dave? I was distracted by this conversation about wind, but did I see a bowl that just was slightly overplayed there?
Yeah, it is. At the moment, it's 2 to Hazel Littlejohn.
So that would indicate that Hazel was happy with holding the 2 and was looking to put a bowl at the back.
Right at the back in the ditch, and that is... Oh, that's nice. That's worked. Yeah. That's worked very well.
That was well played there from Lynda Bennett. She was right in the area, looking with a little bit of extra weight to get some jack movement.
And asking for the measurement. And she got the measurement saying, you've got a long way to go.
Pretty much. So it was just indicating how far away the jack was from the shot bowl.
And that was Kevin's got a bit of sign language. He did some signing there.
Yeah, there is a bit of signing. I mean, I suppose one of the cool things about bowls is we all sort of do it a little bit anyway because it's easier to... There's sort of universal hand gestures, I would say, because the mark is 35 metres away, so you could sort of figure it out anyway. Of course, the deaf community use a little bit more, but it's easy to make themselves understood, and good from Kevin to be in that sort of position. As we see Hazel here, she's taking a lot of green. She'll be willing it to come back. I'm not sure if it's going to come back in time.
So we're looking at a 1 or 2. I guess we'll have to have a look from the other angle. There we go, from the other angle. It's 1. What do you think there, Alex? It's 1 at the moment?
I would say it's 1 there to Lynda at the moment, as we saw the jack sort of tucked in behind her bowl. And she'll be looking to make it a 2, leading 7-3. So she's in an okay position at the moment, Dave. She'll be comfortable with how this game is progressing.
And this one looks as though it's going to be pushed and pushed and shoved out the way, basically.
Those are the bowls that are frustrating to miss as a player because you know you should get them. We call them bonus bowls. There's no right of reply to a bonus bowl. She would have been focusing on trying to get that second shot, so she'll be a bit frustrated that she's fallen short there, but obviously happy to score the point.
But it is a decent excuse that the wind was bad. So you can use that, even though it may not have been the case on that one.
It's the first rule of bowls is always blame
the conditions.
Something. Never ever the player's issue. And Lynda here looking to take the wind into account with that delivery.
He's been beaten to the end by the bowl.
I don't think he even saw it.
Yeah, it's in the ditch.
The bowl flying into the ditch.
Let's see Kevin bowling it back himself.
Yeah, we see.
Oh, very accurate.
He's been a handy bowler in his day. Kevin Smith knows what he's doing.
All right, let's try again.
And we see now Hazel Littlejohn get the opportunity to deliver the jack. As this game progresses, if this happens a little bit more, we may see the players also move the mat when they re-deliver the jack. Yeah, just to change it up completely from what your opposition's doing.
That one's straight. Oh, that's a beautiful bowl.
Yeah, lovely, lovely. If it stops it, that is.
Oh, that was superb.
Absolutely beautiful stuff there. I think Hazel can thank the greenkeeper for that one stopping.
Oh, she was smiling after that.
Now, what hand's Lynda going to play this on? She's been chopping and changing. She played her forehand last time in this direction, looking to play her backhand now, so opting for the big swing.
We're just seeing to the side how Hazel Littlejohn was practicing. Now, she was practicing with a very open palm and fingers, whereas some others tend to keep a couple of fingers going around on either side, either their little finger or on the other side of their hand.
Yeah, we'll have a look at her grip actually, and sometimes people change their grips when it gets into these sorts of conditions. That's a very conventional grip there from Hazel. You see her 4 fingers are sort of contained within the 2 grip points and the thumb just on the side of the bowl. It's a nice grip and allows you to sort of hold on to a bowl in all conditions. Sometimes some of the more dramatic grips are fine when the conditions are all well and good, but if it gets a little bit slippery, you want to be able to hold on to your bowl. And Hazel navigating Lynda's shot there very nicely to draw the shot.
Well, in the previous few ends, they've had the jack a little bit further up. This time it's right at the very back. So we've had a real mixture of where the jack has actually been.
Yeah, and these the long ends will be more challenging for these players in these conditions because it's more your bowl's travelling for a longer period where it can get hit by a gust of wind or something else untoward can happen. And it'll be interesting here to Hazel, those bowls will be in her line. She may consider switching hands here. So they'll be right in your eye line from the ditch end.
I prefer the statement out of tennis. There's more distance to stuff up.
Yeah, well, it's true. It's true. That's what happens. That's what happens, Dave. And Hazel opting to stick on to the backhand. This is very close here from Hazel Littlejohn. Navigating Lynda's bowl beautifully. Now willing the bowl to stop, which it's done. So she's holding 2 now. A lovely green on both of those bowls. The pressure beginning to go on to Lynda Bennett. Needs to get close with her third bowl. Been there and done that though has Lynda. Very successful bowling career. On a number of open Waikato Centre titles. Not getting the job done on that occasion. So it's going to come down to her last bowl.
I'm not suggesting, Alex, that we call off, postpone or anything like that, but has there been conditions that you have played in where you've just decided to say that's enough?
Yeah, it has been before. I think in the history of the tournament, there might have been 2 cancellations in 115 years.
Oh,
so they usually find a way to get it done. But in this case, for this event, for example, every green that has been played on today has a plan B, which is an artificial green to go to.
Right.
So our artificial, synthetic greens can cope with the water a bit better. They drain a bit better. So every green has an allocated artificial. And if they were to flood, we've got a few covered greens in Auckland, but it would be a staggered. You'd have to play it staggered out, and we don't want to be going down
6 a.m. until midnight.
we don't want to be going down that road, Dave.
Okay.
So ordinarily you switch to an artificial if you can.
I think all events around the northern part of the country at the present time are being very aware of later on this afternoon and into tomorrow, which could potentially turn very bad.
Yes, yeah, and there is
that will drive down the country as well.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people, whether it's the bowls through to whatever event, I mean, there's been some music festivals that have had to call themselves off just north of Auckland, and a few people just preparing for things, and that's where Plan B is a great idea.
Yeah, it is. And just on that note, just be careful out there, people, as we see
a great road toll, having been working in the news. Well, when I say great, as in a greater number road toll, having working in the news this morning, it was not pleasant viewing.
Yeah, just be careful, and be just aware of your surroundings, and you know how it makes it with these stormy conditions we're suffering now. As we see
you can
that,
see the scoreboard behind us. It's got a mind of its own at the present time.
A good example of the stormy conditions. Hazel Littlejohn on the forehand. She's only holding one. Lynda Bennett was able to play a good bowl. Hazel looking to knock her front one into contention. Now willing the bowl to stop.
And has it stopped?
She may be holding two there. Sorry, Dave, I misspoke. So that bowl at 7 o'clock and the one at 6 o'clock might be first and second.
And we might just ask for a little look from the other side and see if we can see whether that other bowl was held up or not.
Yes, it looked like it was trucking along to me. It stopped. I'm not sure if it stopped in time. We'll watch and see. Might be two, said Kevin. Lynda.
Okay, there we go. A little bit of a measuring here. So Kevin's going to get up the measuring and help out here. And we're looking for how many at the present time, do you think? 2?
I think we'll find that it'll be 2. So they've conceded one shot to Hazel, which would make it 4-8. I think it'll be 5-8 pretty shortly. Just quickly, we'll call it a sister sport to bowl. It's the Darts World Championship, Dave. Michael Smith, the winner of the World Darts Championship, and I would hazard a guess that a lot of bowling clubs around the country had that on their television screens this morning.
Michael against Michael in the final. Van Gerwen against Michael Smith. Yeah. And tell us, who were the winner?
It was Michael Smith won in 7 sets to 5, and he was not the favourite for the World Darts Championship, so I was quite pleased for him. It was the second televised title in his career, Dave, and he's been a bit unlucky not to win more, so hopefully a sign of things to come if you're a darts fan of Michael Smith.
So the Englishman beating the Dutchman in the final. I think the last time they met in the final was 2019.
Yeah, it was a demolition job in the other direction last time, so good stuff from the darts. I was keeping one eye on that this morning. As we see another well-delivered jaw.
It's not bad. It's going deep.
Just about took out Kevin's toe, but we've survived. So it was 2 in the end to Hazel Littlejohn, so it is 5-8 in this race to 21 points.
And it looked like a smooth delivery. However, it's out wide, taking up a lot of green and should be coming around, or not. Didn't get caught by the wind on this occasion.
No, just slightly overplayed. It's going to be what is challenging for the players, and we've seen them already. They just can't seem to settle on a side of the rink to play, Dave. They're playing well, but they don't seem to have settled on a side that they prefer.
But I don't know if it's the bowler's fault that they can't seem to decide. It's that they're trying to anticipate or work with or against the wind.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the
and it's not consistent.
That's
the wind
the
isn't consistent.
Yeah, entirely agree with that. And Lynda Bennett there, dying in the rough. They may also, what they have to be aware of as well, we've spoken about that. It rained a lot overnight, and you can see some spits and bits and pieces coming down. It's also possible that the green could start slowing down as well over time, because a game of bowls, they're going to be playing for 1.5 to 2 hours. Over that time, the green itself can change.
Although with this wind, it should actually help dry it out a little bit.
Yeah, good point. Maybe it'll speed up then.
Well, this ball's sped up. This one is sped up.
Look at this as it just it's like a sail, really. It just gets caught by the wind, but I think she has managed to draw the shot there.
She's trying to stay upright, I think, because that wind just about bowled them both over. That was a strong gust.
There's been some quite comical, I imagine around the greens there'll be some quite comical moments though, Dave, with hats and umbrellas and whatnot disappearing. Never a bad thing to have a little laugh. Lynda Bennett there. Good green, but just falling short. And I think we'll see that Hazel Littlejohn, switching her hand now to her backhand side. The easier side, well, who knows? The other side to play. I was going to say the easier, but that would be incorrect. And look at this green that she's taken and pay attention to where, is she going jack in the ditch? That can't have been on purpose.
Okay, well, that's instead of the jack in the ditch, that is her second bowl into the gutter, into the ditch.
Imagine if she'd put the jack in the ditch there, how incredible that would have been.
Yeah.
Just out of nowhere, just go boom, there you are.
Well, look at them both trying to keep it relatively tight.
Yeah, so this tight line here, so that hasn't gone out of bounds rink-wise.
Yeah, I think it
just running on.
Has. Yes, it
on the
has.
back. I think we spoke about it a bit yesterday, Dave, but there is a difference in weight between a swinging hand and a straight hand because of the distance that the bowl travels. So Lynda and Hazel, they probably felt the same out of the hand to them weight-wise as the two bowls they played on the forehand side.
And Alex, perhaps at the end of this end, or maybe the following end, we can check out the women's singles results that we've had so far this morning.
I can and I will, as we see a correction here from Hazel Littlejohn. This is a great correction here. Beautiful bowl. Lovely stuff.
Going to work very nicely. So at the moment she's on 2.
2 there, particularly when you consider how much she missed her third bowl by. That's a really good correction there from Hazel Littlejohn. A little nod of sort of self-acknowledgement there. And Lynda Bennett on the backhand. I don't think it's going to make it. Not to be there from Lynda Bennett. So 2 now to Hazel Littlejohn, tightening this game right up. 7-5. And a good game developing.
And the winner of this contest will take on either Anthony Broderick from Morrinsville or Patrina Riley from Whakatane. And at the other half of the draw, we have Sue Curran from Claudelands up against Darren Woodland from Waikiwi. And there's also Graham Skellerin from Takapuna up against Carolyn Crawford from St. Clair.
And that's be a mighty matchup there. Both Graham Skellerin and Carolyn Crawford have won respective national titles before for their different national bodies, and they've both been around the scene for a long time. So I'm picking a really good game there.
Well, there we go. There's the draw for you.
Brilliant stuff. And Carolyn Crawford, incidentally, has won an Open national title, Dave. She won the Open National Peers 5 or 6 years ago now. So
who was that with? You know, I'm going to ask her that one. We'll come back to that.
I was impressed that I knew she'd won the national peers. I don't need to be questioned on who her lead was.
I'm sure you can research that up again.
Goodness gracious,
because she could be featuring in the semi-finals for us later on this afternoon.
She could be.
So there we go. That information will be vital, Alex, as we get ready for another end and a nice little comeback. A slow, gradual comeback it is for Hazel Littlejohn. It's just staying in the competition when it comes down to the points, first to 21. And delivering down the jack from Lynda Bennett. Let's see, swinging around wide. So just 1 point the margin, as you can see. Going up to 21, 7-8 at the present time. As Alex Reid does a lot of research right now.
She was leading for Anne Muir.
Okay.
Anne Muir from Northland, who is participating at this Nationals. Anne played for the New Zealand team in the 90s and is a well-known coach. So there you are. Anne Muir and Carolyn Crawford won the New Zealand peers not that long ago. But on the note of results, I'll just quickly...
Well, maybe we'll come back to those at the end of this end.
Oh, fair enough.
Because it is going to be fairly tight. It could be Lynda Bennett, well, jumping away a little bit, or it could be Hazel Littlejohn. Will she take the lead?
I'm not sure who's your pick, Dave, based on what you've seen so far. I don't know who I'd pick, so I'll ask you.
Well, I think Lynda Bennett has sort of been in the lead a little bit more, and it's always been Hazel Littlejohn playing catch-up. So I think we'll have to go with Lynda Bennett at the present time, albeit still early stages, not even halfway through just yet.
Lynda's certainly the name player out of these two. But Hazel Littlejohn giving a very good account of herself and has had a number of good results. Kevin saying she clean swept her club titles the last season, won the singles, pairs, triples and fours at her home club. So
Wow.
clearly knows what she's doing.
So that home club, which one is that there, Alex?
Darfield, just off the top of my head.
Darfield in Canterbury
Bowling
Country as such.
40 miles out of the city is Darfield Bowling Club.
Don't forget we're in K's now, Alex, but that's okay.
No one let me know. Bowlers speak imperial, Dave. That's the way we work. And we see a good head developing here for Lynda Bennett, opting to play the forehand now, so that's straight hand.
And that Darfield Bowling Club is quite a centre of the community. Anybody who's been through Darfield will know.
Lynda Bennett. This is not far away. Little feather off that bowl. Good. That's good bowling there from Lynda.
It does.
Right in the
works
area.
better, and we're on 2 now.
First stepped onto the green in 2009, did Lynda Bennett for a social bowls game. She got hooked through Twilight Bowling League.
Just a few years back, and doing very well now. And at the moment we have, you can see Lynda Bennett there, who's holding her bowl as if she was going to shot put to a Valerie Adams there.
Oh, it might be a good way to, maybe we have got an opportunity for cross court stuff there. You could use the bowls as shot puts. And what a brilliant bowl here from Hazel Littlejohn. We've seen her play some great shots under pressure, and that's just another one. A very hardy marker in the background dealing with the
scoreboard.
The scoreboard.
Have to hold it up.
Give her a cup of coffee or something. Lynda Bennett here on the forehand. She's already played 2 good bowls. This one, look at the wind. That bowl just drifting out. If the wind gusts at the wrong time on the track, that bowl is still going against the bias. Your bowl just won't come back.
You can see the score in the background having to hold on herself, let alone the scoreboard.
48 points. Oh, she's having a nightmare. That's okay. Just focus on the scoreboard on the screen. We see Hazel Littlejohn's taken another lovely greened bowl here. It's down to the weight.
Wouldn't that be tough playing up to 48?
Would be. I'd imagine that's probably the first time that scoreboard's got to 48, Dave. And
well, we almost lost the scoreboard, let alone the scorer.
Keep an eye on that. As Lynda Bennett, her 4th bowl, her last bowl. She's been in the area with her other ones, and in the area again with this bowl. Now, when's the wind going to blow? That's the question.
Oh, it's changed direction almost.
Yeah, she was willing that one. She gave that a chance to hold. If it had the same amount of wind as the bowl that you see at the bottom left of your screen.
So the score will go to?
8. It'll be 8 all now, 8 apiece.
There you go. Thank you very much there, Kevin.
Kev. So it'll be what is essentially a race to 13 points.
Now, Alex, what about those scores from around the grounds, or around the clubs, that is, around the greens? What have we got?
Yes, yeah, we've had some. So there's a few buys this morning to get it down to around a 32. So those players they will have just commenced for about the last 40 minutes at Browns Bay Bowling Club, which is where we are. But some other ones from around the place. We saw Debbie White, who won the Auckland, or the national singles last time it was in Auckland, winning her first game 21-3. So certainly a woman on a mission there, I would suggest. We've seen Lynda Ralph, who we watched yesterday. She's got through to the next round. She won 21-10.
Now, she was already through, from what I can recall. She'd already made it through to...
Yes, but we're in post-section now, so she's it's into
right.
knockout situation. We had Nicole Toomey, who won the women's singles here in Auckland as well, lose 18 points to 21, so she's out. That's a big loss in the first round.
Umpire, Bruce.
Mandy Boyd. So they just we'll just see here whether the jack is inside or outside of the boundary pegs on the rink. It'll take a couple of minutes, which will give me a chance to rattle off the rest of the results. Mandy Boyd, the pre-tournament favourite, through. She won her game 21-11, but she's going to have a big match-up because she's playing Claire Hendra in the round of the last, whatever it is, 32 in this game going on now. And that's a really big matchup early on in this post-section, Dave.
So how does the umpire here, remembering that they're looking about 30 metres or whatever it is?
So he's got a little contraption there, which you would have just seen. Maybe we'll get a camera angle to it. He's got a little contraption. It's got a mirror and a line.
And what do we call this contraption? Because some of your names for the equipment Curious. What are we going to call this one?
I
Measuring
call it a
device.
mirror. It's a mirror with a line on it. But he'll use that to look down and see. It sort of creates a
But does it really matter in a case like this?
it gets down
Why
to
should it matter? Why can't Kevin just put it back on the 2-metre line?
because if it was out of bounds, like if it was
Right.
slightly too far to the left, the opposition gets the opportunity to deliver the jack to their length. So that's why people like to sort of test that, because it's considered an advantage to be able to throw the jack to the length that you want it to go to, as opposed to the length that someone else wanted it to go to. So it's and we also like to give the umpire something to do as well, Dave. So it's good for them to
use the device.
use the measuring device, the mirror. I think it's probably just called a mirror, to be honest. I don't think we're too imaginative with names.
I like the picker-upper. Anyway, a few more results that you've got there,
Precisely.
Alex, from the round of 32 women's singles.
Yeah, not many more results. Probably the only other one of interest is that Bev Morrell and Sandra Keith won the New Zealand pairs last year in Christchurch as a pair, and they played each other this morning at Takapuna Bowling Club, and Bev Morrell was the winner of that game, 21-14 over Sandra Keith, defeating her skip in the pairs. So maybe we'll see them switch around in the pairs when that commences in a couple of days' time.
So explain to me then, with a skip, how important is it to be a skip or not be a skip? Does it really matter?
You like to focus on your strengths. So a skip in a pairs game, for example, the lead has the first three. As we look at this brilliant bowl here from Lynda Bennett, playing that swinging hand well. You'd like to play to your strengths. So in pairs game, the lead gets 3 bowls, the skip gets 3 bowls. So the skip is generally the bowler who has a more accurate run shot and drive shot and can take advantage of the position given to them by the lead.
Let's see if this particular bowl from Hazel Littlejohn has the same swing, the same turn.
Oh, look at it turn. It's going to turn real late here. This bowl.
Gee, that's late, isn't
Look
it?
at it. Look at it come back in. Still going.
It's almost coming backwards.
Oh.
And is it going to drop? It's not.
Just about. That's incredible stuff.
But that was so late. Whether there was a strong gust of wind or just the way that she put that swing on it. Fantastic.
Yeah, entirely wind related, I would suggest.
I'd take it. Claim it.
Precisely. And Lynda here taking a nice line again, but it's going to, look at this. It's going to swoop across the head. And once they start, they don't stop. Almost picking up speed.
It is.
Almost picking up speed.
Has it gone into the ditch? Yes, it is.
Unbelievable there. Those two bowls wouldn't have felt that much different to Lynda.
So, Alex, the Browns Bay Club, you've played there a number of occasions?
I have. It's a lovely club, the Browns Bay Club. They've got 3 natural greens and 1 artificial, all Maniatoto, and they just are sort of impeccably looked after. They've got a lovely clubhouse as well for refreshments after, during and before the events.
And they have a screen there for other sports or dartboards. What else do they have inside?
I've got 1 dartboard, which I've thrown a 180 on, by the way, and a couple of screens and a few pool tables and some pokie machines. So it's a lovely club.
It's an all sport club in many senses.
Correct, yeah. It's a nice social hub, and only good things in the future for Browns Bay. As we see this bowl on a lovely line. How's the weight? Not quite to be there from Lynda. And that may force Hazel to switch to the other hand.
You could see her face. She's like,
Just
she was considering and then thought, no, I just need to see this a little bit closer.
Yeah, fair call too.
So if you were Hazel right now, where are you looking at? You're going to switch around and come in from the other side?
I would switch to the backhand side, which is to our right as we see it, because I don't think you can draw around or underneath that blue bowl that sits at the top left. So you switch into the backhand side, looking to draw to the 2 metre mark at 6 o'clock. And on your way to the 2 metre mark, you should pick the jack up. So you're trailing the jack for 3 there.
You've asked for a lot there, Alex.
Easy peasy, Dave. Well, when you're watching, it's easy. More challenging to play, but I think we'll see her attempt to trail the jack a little bit on the backhand for 3 shots.
So let's see if you're correct on this one. Checks down at her grip. No, she sort of seems to have almost changed.
Yeah, she's on the backhand. And she's playing with intent here, watching this bowl. Now, is it going to get the jack? That's the question. Oh,
Well, she did shift the blue ball slightly. No, it hasn't really gone far enough.
Yeah,
If it drops to the left, then it would almost be a measure.
that's right. Hasn't done quite what she wanted to do. But a fair attempt there, I think, from Hazel. And Lynda opting not to play her bowl, because she must feel it too dangerous to try and draw a second shot. But you can do that. You can just not
But
play.
surely you should play the bowl because something could go wrong. And that's the whole thing about playing.
Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to play.
On
You don't have to
Lynda,
play your bowl. Most people
But
do.
wouldn't that be conceding?
No, you're just not playing your bowl.
But you could bowl your fourth bowl
Yeah.
and actually muck everything up for you.
That's why you don't play it.
But then that's...
Are you okay, Dave?
No, I'm trying to figure this doesn't make the sense, though.
So Lynda thought it was too dangerous to play her fourth bowl, so she just hasn't.
But she could turn it around, and that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing of playing every bowl that you've got.
Yeah.
That if you don't play it, then... Yeah.
You don't have to. I mean, some people play wrong price instead on purpose or draw really short on purpose. But the danger with that, as you've correctly pointed out, is that something can go wrong. And
Yeah.
I've seen it happen.
And that's why you should be playing it,
No,
to actually show you have the skill to continue.
no. I'm going to respectfully disagree, and we'll move
I
on.
would say that I reckon if we spoke to Kevin, he'd agree with me.
I'm not going to ask Kevin that question.
Yeah, he'd agree with me. That's why.
We see what's happened here. The jack's been delivered.
We have had that Hazel's just gone for a little run around.
Oh, we've lost Hazel.
She'll come back.
You'd hope so. At this, I mean, it's a close game still, isn't it? 9 points to 8. So you hear that wind through the mics.
The far away ones. Either a branch came out of it and smashed, and this is all the bark coming across on the far side of the road, just playing the first end. All this stuff's coming off it.
What was the conversation there, Alex? Maybe we should actually speak to Kevin.
Yeah, I think so.
Kevin, if you're there, we have heard a conversation about something. Is that smashing, or did we hear wrong?
No, David, that's on the first end, as we were playing the first end, on the far corner of the bowling green across the road, I don't know whether it was a branch from the tree or the tree itself came down, and there was an explosion of dust and bark, and you might or might not be picking it up on camera, but there is bark rolling across the green, flying around, but it's flowing straight through. I'll just answer this question. 1 foot. I don't know why I'm shouting, because Hazel can't hear me, really. But I did do the sign language of 1 foot. So
Okay, I was
I'll
thinking
get away with that.
exactly. Just putting 1 foot up in the air. I'm sure she'll
Well,
figure it out.
Yeah. No, so there's bark coming across the green from a fallen tree. There's been debris coming right through the game, blowing across from their left now. But
So
it
that
blows
adds
straight
another.
through.
It adds another aspect to the game, doesn't it, Kevin?
Dodge the trees.
And Kevin, we have been having a discussion, Alex and I, about
Yes.
whether you should or shouldn't bowl your final ball, like at the last end.
Just-
And I believe
hold that
tomorrow
question.
you should.
You're 1 up, Lynda. I just need to answer the question here for these guys.
No problem at all.
I'll get on to my favourite lollipops and show 1 blue. I think the challenge for the players is that the wind is inconsistent. I think it's always worthy to inspect ahead is what's the risk. If the risk is low, then holding your line as best you can reduces the risk, and it's good to play your final bowl if you can score. If you're going to serious danger of giving it away, then at very few times I think you should not play your bowl. But
See, I'm a great fan
really,
that you should
Sorry.
bowl it because there is that risk, and that's what actually takes the advantage away from you.
Yeah, Dave just wants to see the excitement of the game, which I understand, but respectfully disagree with. As we see a bowl here get caught by the wind.
yeah,
What
it's coming
hand
down
would
this
you-
forehand at the clubhouse side. It's been interesting to watch. A lot of the
Yeah.
bowls are steering out.
That was my last question for you, Kev. Is do you think there's a hand that they should stick to, or the hand that looks easier to you? Because from our point of view, the players, it's been challenging to find a hand to stick to, hasn't it? They've been switching from the swinging hand to the straight hand and back again.
Yes, it is fascinating. Certainly, in my small number of years I've played, I'm a great fan of the proponent. The shortest way to the jack, up and down against the breeze, is a better percent of error. But sometimes you do get a better touch and a better feel by playing with the wind and bringing it home. But I think that you lose fewer bowls playing the tight side. Now, they haven't played the tight side much. They've played the windy side. They've played it pretty well given the conditions. I think they've played it very good. But it is a challenge, and when you lose a bowl in the windy side, though, I think you lose it more than you do playing the tight side. And nobody has persevered, I think, with the tight side. But that's always the debate. They're playing out here now, and that's their challenge to work out what's the best way for them to play.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you very much, Kevin. We'll be back to you later on.
And there we go. That is a 3. So we're very well bowled. Not quite completed yet, but very well bowled so far for Lynda Bennett.
Yeah, and we see there's one bowl left there for Hazel Littlejohn to play, and she's going to be under all sorts of pressure here, I think, Dave. She should be at least 3 down, maybe 4 if Lynda can get this bowl to count. No. There's another bowl to come.
Well, we do have Hazel Littlejohn down this end at the present time, so that may have confused her.
That will have been why. I don't know why I was telling Lynda that, because if they can't hear Kevin from on the green, they're not going to hear me from the commentary box. But
not at all.
We'll see Hazel Littlejohn here, looking down the barrel of 3. It looks like 3 down to me, Dave.
Well, maybe she was expecting her opponent to not bowl, just like the previous end.
That's fine.
I'm not going to let
You're
up
not going to let it go, are you?
No, I'm not.
I can tell as we see Hazel make her way back to the delivery area, the mat.
And let's just see what she could do here. She's got a straight view of the jack, but it's very difficult to bowl completely straight at the present time.
Yeah, she'd have to add more weight. So just making sure she's got everything right. And this is a big bowl, I think, in the context of the game. She's 9-8 down. She misses this.
Well,
Lynda goes into the teens, really.
Yeah, 12-8, potentially.
On the back end. So there's half the equation. Now, how much is it going to swoop back into the head? I think not enough for Hazel. And looking like it's going to be 3 points to Lynda Bennett on this end. I'll wait for confirmation.
3 or 4?
You know, it's a good question. It's hard to tell with the camera angles. I think 3, maybe even less. And you see there the bowls all around the head, but Lynda just that little bit more tighter bowls and being asked to measure. So we'll go against.
What lollipop is Kevin going to get out?
That's the question. So 1, 2, 3. 3. So 3 there to Lynda Bennett. 12 points to 8. And opening up probably her biggest lead in some time, I'd say, from Lynda Bennett.
And 12-3 as we continue here. First to 21, this is the quarterfinals of the Open Disability Singles of the Summerset National Singles and Pairs, all around the Auckland region. We're presently at Browns Bay. And what's he saying here?
3.
3, yeah. Just rechecking on the score. I think the manual scoreboard maybe... No, it was just actually the players correcting them on what the score is.
It was 3. Yep.
It was 3.
All right, 12-8. Yep, everyone's happy.
12-8 after 13. We're right.
And there you go.
Thanks for your help.
It's not us.
Great stuff there from Kev. And we see Lynda now opting to play the swinging hand again. On a very short end in comparison to what they have played, Dave.
So let's test your maths now, Alex. What would be the shortest number of ends you could have to get to your 21? It's testing your maths.
7-ish. Just instinctively, I'd go for 7.
Remember, 4 is the most you can have, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So what's that? 4, 8.
6.
Is it 6?
Well, because 5 4s are 20.
Oh, that works. Yeah, so 6 ends. That's what I was going to say.
We just love to have little tests for you each day, Alex.
Thanks. I really appreciate it. As we see, one of those little bits of bark. It's incredible to me that a tree's fallen over and is spreading debris through the bowling club, Dave.
Well, I'm surprised there's not sand from the beach just down the road as well.
That might be what's coming up next.
A wave or two.
So not get too dramatic and on this short end.
Well, we did have an earthquake in the Waikato, northern Waikato, kind of Thames Valley region.
Woke me up this morning.
Yeah. What woke you up? Really?
I felt the earth move. I thought I'd have a look on Facebook because everyone always goes, "Oh, there was an earthquake," as if no one else has noticed.
And what time was it for you?
It felt like it was about 20 to 6. It was not that long before my alarm, unfortunately, but that's okay.
Well,
Hazel.
I can tell you've been on a news team, a nationwide news team this morning. It did make the headlines. In fact, the newsreader actually felt it. She was on the 12th floor of the building out of Hamilton. I was in the Auckland studios.
No, it wouldn't be so much fun.
No, she felt it and did wonder what was going on, particularly whether or not she had to make it down to the ground level or whether the ground was going to come up to her. And look at that. Just drags it with her as well.
Beautiful bowl by Hazel Littlejohn. They have found, the players have found that swinging hand remarkably well considering the conditions.
Well, that's a nice start, I guess, after 2 bowls. And what are we going to see here from Lynda Bennett to counter that?
On her backhand side, on that straight hand. She's got the opportunity to rest the bowl or move the jack, which is why she's played with this reaching weight. She'll will this one to stop. If it stops, it's really good. Not to be. So if she'd been able to keep that bowl up on the rink, it gave her a better percentage chance with her next one. You always try and sort of keep your bowl alive when you're playing those reaching bowls. So if you miss your initial target, it's improving the head.
Well, this looks again that Hazel Littlejohn is having to play catch up again and again. She may get 1 or 2 on this particular rink if things stay the way they are, and it's got to go better actually. So 2 at the present time. But she's always having to play catch-up, never quite overtaking.
She hasn't taken the lead yet, has she, Dave? And we see on that previous hand, Lynda extending her lead to 4. But Hazel...
More pace on that bowl.
Yes, this one's not very far away from Lynda Bennett. Now, is it going to get the jack square?
It is.
Great bowl there from Lynda. Well played. Much nicer speed than the first bowl. Well, and she's forgotten again that there's a bowl to come.
Well, it's her last one. She doesn't need to think about her opponent.
You shouldn't really be... Yeah.
Well, let's just see now what Hazel Littlejohn can do. She did have 2 on the go.
Technically, you have to beat your bowl up, Dave, or you don't walk. It shouldn't really have happened, but that's okay. It was a good shot there from Lynda Bennett, taking the jack back. So she was 2.5 down before that last one.
Oh, they're steering around in the wind. The wind is steering things a lot.
Just a bit of commentary there from Kev. Simon Hitchcock in the background as we... Hazel she'll be sitting on that mat, feeling the gusts come and go, and looking like she's now opting to play her forehand side. How's this, Dave? It's not far away here. It needs to pull up. She wills it to stop.
Just too much pace.
Passing through on this occasion.
And far too much pace. So what have we got? A 2 or a 1? Lynda Bennett takes a 1, definitely. Perhaps a 2.
It looked like a 2 from that other camera angle.
Wait for the lollipop.
Yeah, from this distance, I'm not sure. And a massive bowl there. Looks like, a 2 there was to Lynda Bennett. That was a huge bowl from Lynda because she was 2 down with her last bowl to come. The game would have tightened right back up. It could have been 11-12, but not. It's 14-8 on this race to 21, and Lynda inching closer to that 21 points.
And Alex, we'll have a little look shortly to see if there's any new results which have come through that haven't been updated from earlier on, whether it's the men's pairs or the women's singles. Of course, we are around 18, 19 clubs all over, and I think you mentioned that we're at Hunters Plaza, Papatoe, in the southern part of Auckland through to Hawak out east. I think Glen Eden perhaps in the west.
Yeah, all around the place really. There's
so we'll get you to have a little look
plenty
through.
Of stuff.
We're just checking there, a little bit of bark or a leaf zooming across the green as we do have the jack way up. Now, why is Hazel Littlejohn coming down? What's she coming down for?
She's
here?
coming down to see how far the jack is away from that tee. So she's stepping it out now. Instead of getting the umpire with the tape measure, they can just figure out. So it looks like they've decided, and we see there that the mat isn't as far up as the jack is, which means that the jack must be legal. So to answer your question, it was just to see the distances, and that jack is fine.
And you can hear the wind gusts again, or you can just see the flapping on the trousers of Kevin on the tracksuit pants there. As we get ready for the first bowl there from Lynda Bennett. Going very wide and waiting for that turn, perhaps a little bit too strong at this. No, it's really turning late, coming around.
Unbelievable
completely.
with the wind, isn't it? That's just staggering to watch.
It looked as though it was well gone, but just kept on turning and turning and turning. So she's in a good position for that first bowl.
Yeah, she'll be happy enough with that, and developing a sort of a nice space to be in for the game for Lynda. She's 6 points clear. She's on 14. She's played a couple of good bowls under pressure. She'll be feeling good about finishing this game off. Hazel Littlejohn still fighting though, and look at this here from Hazel. That's a great shot there.
Well,
Lovely
that's
bowl.
even better.
Lovely bowl. Lynda on the back end.
And our scorer in the back end is just time struggling to keep the numbers in order and also to keep the actual scoreboard upright.
On the back end.
And wait for it. Wait for it.
Yeah, watch this at the end of the track. That's great stuff. Good bowl. Well played, Lynda.
Oh, it just says, I'm in front of you. Superb. There was hardly even a gap there for a bowl to fit in.
Oh, unbelievably
It
good.
somehow just dropped there. Those numbers are changing. What did we have before? 49? No, there it goes again. No, it's back.
That's a full-time job for the marker there.
It is. This is fascinating, watching the late turns here. It's almost as if the green is on a slope.
It is, just with that massive swing. And Hazel, if she'd had another foot more weight, that would have been good.
Exactly.
Lynda forced to switch to her forehand now, I think, Dave. That last bowl of Hazel's in her road.
And I think, Alex, after this end, we'll be able to come up with a couple more results, perhaps.
Yeah, there's a couple of results. So the round start at 8:30 and the next one starts at 11:30. So we've got most of the 8:30 results on already, but there's a couple more since last time. We do rely on the clubs to get those results to us.
What's the sign language there?
Hazel just asking how far away the shot bowl was from the jack, and Kevin indicating about a foot. Hazel on the back end. This one, if she's got the weight, isn't that far away. Oh, I think it's going to run out of oomph. And she just gave up on it. Hearing a crash in the background of something somewhere.
I don't think it was a car, but then we do have those apartments being built, and hopefully everything is secured.
Yeah, you'd hope so.
No, I don't think you're going to be able to get that one around, Lynda. She was indicating how she wanted it to go,
Yeah,
and it didn't.
not to be. And Kevin just asking Lynda if the bowl is in the rink or out of the rink. If it's outside of the bounds, it'll be taken off.
It doesn't actually seem that wide, though, from this angle.
Yeah, it'll be close to it. Yeah, and Lynda indicating it's out.
Okay.
So her weight was perfect, but just that little bit far out of the rink. And Hazel now really needs to score again. Hasn't scored in a while. I'm enjoying the comedy show.
Oh, the poor scorer.
You may as well not bother doing. I'd just stop doing the ends. So that's two less things to worry about if you stop keeping track of the ends, isn't it? As we see Hazel here on the back end with Oh, she would have wanted a bit more weight, but look, the wind's got that one too, as it hooks across. Never really had the weight for that, but certainly the wind
Just
giving
the one
it a bit
lollipop.
of a push.
And out to a 15-8 lead there for Lynda Bennett over Hazel Littlejohn. Lynda Bennett from the Te Mutu Club in the Waikato, up against Hazel Littlejohn from Darfield in Canterbury. The winner of this particular match will go on to take on the winner of Anthony Broderick from Morrinsville, up against Petrina Riley from Whakatane. That will be a semi-final later on today. And of course, we do have a semi-final that we'll be showing you from around about 2:30. We'll check on that timing a little bit later on this afternoon. So should be a lot of fun. Sue Curran or Darren Willand, Graham Sculleroon or Caroline Crawford. So it should be a very entertaining semi-final this afternoon as well. And great to have been able to show firstly men's pairs, women's singles and open disability singles as well. Great, wouldn't you say, Alex, to see so many different varieties of bowls over the last 3 days?
Oh, absolutely. It's one of those things with the Open Summerset Nationals. We've got the men's, women's and open disability sections. Essentially, if you can play a bowl, you have a national event to participate in, and it's always a good few days.
And we're running all the way through until when?
The 9th of January. And if you just look in the background there, I see a scoreboard 19-17 after 14 ends. So that would indicate that the 11:30 round of pairs is drawing to an end around the place. So I'd say maybe half an hour, 40 minutes, we'll start getting results coming through from that. You can find them on the Bowls New Zealand website. If you go into our website or social media pages, that's where you'll find the results.
Well, you did promise me some results, though.
I did. Yeah, I should have
from 8:30.
I should have segued into that from that little bit of chat. So if we have a look through, I've already read out a couple of them, but Gary Lawson through with no real trouble. He's now playing Cliff Webber and Andre Hudson in his 11:30 round. We've also got a big matchup in the 11:30 round at Te Aratu Bowling Club, where we have Shannon McElroy and Calvin Scott, who are just about the favourites for this tournament, taking on previous winners Chris Lowe and Jordan King at the 11:30 round. And also at that green at Te Aratu, Aidan Takarua and Richard Hocking, who've made the quarterfinal the last 2 years in a row, are playing Taylor Horn and Jesse Russell, who've won the New Zealand Open pairs before. So some real big matchups to watch come through over the next hour or so.
We're still in the earlier rounds as such, but we're getting a lot of these players, a lot of these competitors. There goes some bark. That's the bark. I can see it. There goes another one.
But more back. Yeah, that's one of the things about the random draw. Dave, there's no such thing as a seeding in the Open Summerset National Championship. So you sometimes get those the mighty clashes early on in post section, and it keeps you on your toes for sure.
And we're not worried about that bark. It doesn't seem to be in the way.
It'll be interesting, actually. I'm not sure what happens if a bit of bark hits a bowl when it's in motion, because it would be an outside influence, wouldn't it? So I don't know what happens. I'll wait for someone might tell me in my ear. I feel like the bowl would get redelivered perhaps, as we see this good bowl there from Lynda Bennett, who really seems to be settling into her work.
Yeah, definitely. It was fairly close there for a little while. She had one exceptional bowl that came through Bennett, which almost cancelled out Hazel Littlejohn and took the advantage there. I think it was a 3 there, and she just kept on improving. As you can see from the score 15-8, we're going up to 21, of course. And where is this going? It's going all the way through.
All the way through, yeah. I have a feeling, Dave, that if we don't see Hazel score on this end, this game doesn't have much life left in it. I think Lynda's sort of on the rampage. She's really settled into her work, and she's found that line and length, and we'll just keep putting bowls where we see them now.
Not sure Lynda Bennett would call herself a rampager, but she is doing well on the scoreboard.
This is a great bowl here again from Lynda Bennett. Just another bowl close, holding 3.5. And Hazel Littlejohn under all sorts of pressure now.
So what would Hazel Littlejohn do in this case? Where's she going to put it? Where would she like to put it?
Yeah, she'll be looking just to dead draw the shot here to make that correction. Hard to do when your bowls have been around, and look, you can see her thinking about the gusty wind that we see coming across. Again, just taking her time. See a bit of...
I think that was a 3 that she indicated there.
Yeah, so she's 3 down. So if she misses this, she'll be 18-8 down in that race to 21. That's not a position she'd like to be in. So an important bowl here for Hazel Littlejohn. on the backhand side, out of her hand, smooth. So now it's down to the line and the length, Dave. And she needs a gust of wind. That's what she needs. Not to be. So she played that with resting weight, which is interesting.
Are we 3, 3.5, 4?
It may be 4 here. This is a calamity for Hazel Littlejohn. Oh, that bowl there might be a salvation for the fourth shot, the one that you see at 5 o'clock on your screen. But at least 3 here for Lynda Bennett, I would say.
And how's our friendly scoreboard behind going? Looks to be...
1, 2, 3.
Are we going to measure? We are going to? No? Line of sight?
I'm not sure the measure will be long enough.
Yeah, it's true. It is a long...
So sometimes we see string measures, Dave, where it's a bit like a fishing line. The string's round around like, those the old-fashioned string fishing lines. A bit like that for a string measure, but maybe this one will reach instead.
But they're so far away, they're hard to judge.
So 3 conceded already.
And you can't use your finger measurements on this one.
No, you'd be well pressed to do so. Here we go. 3.5. Oh, Kevin's lost the measure, so we'll start again. So measuring the blue bowl first. Getting nice and close there, and now around to the orange one. That's very close. We may see. No.
Yeah, very good.
I think 3. 3 there.
Okay, 3.
To Lynda Bennett, and she gets closer again to that 21-point target. Now at 18.
Yeah, just checking on the lollipop. There we go. It is a 3.
Lynda will be hard to stop from here. Hazel she'll be thinking, I need to change something. We may see Hazel get more aggressive. You just have to change your game plan. You've got 18-8 down, doing what you're doing, so she needs to.
She wasn't doing
make a
anything
change.
particularly bad, though, Alex. There was nothing bad that she's been doing. It's just the more exceptional play of Lynda Bennett has just knocked her out a little bit.
Yeah, probably a fair point there. I think that Lynda's sort of improved her standard of play, whereas Hazel's sort of kept going along, playing reasonably well in these challenging conditions, but Lynda's starting to get 3 out of 4 bowls close, which is it's really challenging. But maybe now's the time for Hazel to switch hands, play the straight hand.
And I think our man Kevin there having a discussion with someone.
I think he's having a discussion with Brendan, who's one of our helpers.
Okay.
About the tree and the bark.
Okay. Well, it's going to be a lot of contentious issue about tree and bark, and as long as none of the branches actually end up on the green, that's a good thing. The bark we can handle. I do see a couple of workers just walking past in the background. They may be
going to clean up the tree.
Possibly.
And Hazel Littlejohn on the back end now. Oh, looks like he's talking to Chris Lynda there. We could see him under the far left. Sorry, Brendan.
Crash. And I see Tamara. Is that Tamara running down there? No.
Yep. Yeah, and there's Brendan. Brendan's the one on the left, helping us out. This one, and Phil, in the comfort of the office, doing the camera switching, I would say. See.
So,
have we lost a camera?
It looks as though we have.
Goodness gracious me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure it's made us sturdy stuff though, so we'll be okay. That's
we're at the sandbags.
That's rather stressful stuff. We used to have bags that could hold old bowls to weigh stuff down. Anyway, back to the game. Sorry, Dave, I've been distracted by the...
No, nothing. It's good to know that our camera has been saved. In the meantime, this is Lynda Bennett with her second. We can't actually say in the picture the bowl of Hazel Littlejohn, the first one.
Yeah, so Lynda now at 18 points as well.
There we go. We can see it there, just over to the left.
Yeah, well within what we'd call check-out range. She can win the game on one end. So she'll be thinking about that now. You're at that point, that 18 points where you think, oh, I'm not that far away from winning this game. I could get a 3 and finish it off here. And Hazel will be aware of that as well, as we see. Good weight there from Hazel.
But a very wide spread.
Yeah, it's a loose
time after 2 each.
A loose head for sure. And Tamara, thank you, Tamara. Do you think they have enough bungee cables?
And the scoreboard almost went into orbit just then. Held down by our helper there.
We certainly appreciate our ground staff for helping us get this broadcast up and running.
Yeah, the Summerset singles and pairs. And that one just stays.
Yeah, just on that end. And a very loose head here, Dave. You're right. Lynda holding one, but she would have been expecting herself to get a couple more close than what she has had. And Hazel here on the backhand with a chance to draw the shot and score her first point in some time. She's not far away. Willing it down now. Oh, she'll be disappointed with that one. It wasn't far off.
So one more bowl each from this end. And at this stage, it's just 1 point to Lynda Bennett, which would take her to 19-8. And where are we going on this one? So it's going to have to be something fairly exceptional from Hazel Littlejohn to come back in and at least hold off victory for Lynda Bennett from Te Awamutu. But that one keeps on rolling.
And it's enough for 2, though. So she technically sits on 20 points now.
And what are you going to do here for Hazel Littlejohn there, Alex?
Just persist. Got to persist with just trying to draw. And she's switching hands, though, Dave. So she's still trying to get close, but going down the other side of the track to do so. Big bowl here from Hazel, essentially to keep her in the game.
Is it broken? Yes.
Willing it to get something square, but not her own bowl. That's a calamity.
So no good there. It's still going to be 2.
Yeah, and you see the hands go onto the head from Hazel Littlejohn. And I think Lynda Bennett continuing.
So the lollipop for 2.
Continuing to march towards that 21. And she should be on to 20 points now, Dave. Not far away.
And looks as though in the back we have we got a couple of winners in the back. So a couple of the men's pairs seem to have been completed.
Yeah, completed at the Browns Bay Bowling Club. So that would indicate that we should start getting results through in the not too distant future, Dave.
And potentially the last round, unless we see something quite dramatic from Hazel Littlejohn here. A little bit of a laugh and a giggle. And you can have the jack. There we go.
Yeah, Lynda really sort of pushing away in this last sort of third of the game. We saw it tightly contested. It was essentially 9-all, wasn't it?
It was. We could just see that Lynda Bennett with the jack. But Hazel Littlejohn has always been just that 1 or 2 behind. It was close enough at one stage, as you just said, could have been 9-all, and that one not too bad. No, bring it back to the 2 meter. But she's always had to play catch up, has Hazel Littlejohn.
Yes, she has, and she kept with Lynda for a bit, but Lynda just been that little bit more consistent, I think. And Hazel, I mean, it's never over till it's over, and Lynda still has to score 2 more points by the look. So only 1 there on that previous end. Lynda still has to score 2 to win, and we've seen big comebacks before, but something's going to need to change for that to happen.
And Alex, we're not going to assume too much, but just in case this is the last end, we might have to get some more results ready, just in case we can't quite switch, because we've seen that Tamara's quite busy right now.
I'm sure we'll find something to talk about, Dave. We might have
indeed.
another chat with Kevin if that eventuates. And then, of course, we are back, as you said, for that semi-final, which will be between the winner of Graham Skaloon and Carolyn Crawford and Sue Curran and Darren Willand a bit later on today once they've completed their games. Probably earlier than the 2:30 advertised, though.
Yeah. And I think, Kevin, if you can hear us, we will speak to you no matter what at the end of this contest. And so we'll just look forward to that happening whenever it does happen. And let's just have a little look now. 19-8, those 2 aren't too bad. The blue bowl there from Lynda Bennett, getting relatively close.
Yeah, she'll be wanting to finish this game off. It's one of the things in these conditions when you find that run of form.
Now, we did believe that was going to be 20-8.
Yeah, I think it was only 1 point
It was
scored
only
on
one,
that
okay.
previous end because our scoreboard and their scoreboard both say 19-8, and the scoreboard. What a great job the scoreboard, whatever you call it, user,
She's holding
attendee.
it down right now.
She's actually moved from the seat she was on to stand by the scoreboard.
Struggling.
I hope we buy her a drink or something at the end of this. She's done a fantastic job out there in the wind and the rain, stopping that scoreboard from flying away. Great stuff there from the scoreboard marker. As we see Hazel Littlejohn on her forehand side, just waiting for the wind to just pause for a second. On the forehand side, on that
Stays down low afterwards.
big swinging hand. Watch this one come into screen. She's got the jack, has she? She has. She's got no intention of going away, does Hazel Littlejohn. And a great shot there, training the jack back for 2.
And very happy about that one because it just takes it right out of all contention for Lynda Bennett.
Absolutely starting from scratch essentially for Lynda Bennett. The jack having moved back.
And she stays right down, in fact, down on one knee.
On the forehand side from Lynda Bennett with weight. She's looking to connect with something. Oh, what a bowl. What a great shot there.
You know, it's always just taken away from Hazel Littlejohn. Every time she looks as though she's in a scoring position.
Lynda's had an answer, hasn't she?
It's just taken it away from her. Oh.
And even that's insult injury, isn't it? Knocking the
exactly.
Not only have you removed the bowl, but you've actually taken it out of contention.
Now, just if people are wondering about the camera angle, the high winds have altered things a little bit. In fact,
they knocked a camera over, is what they did.
I was saying it politely. So that's one of the reasons that the camera angle looking the other way is slightly different.
Just for the moment, and we'll see.
We'll have that sorted for the second contest later on this afternoon.
Hazel with 2 bowls left. On the forehand side, out of her hand, pretty smooth. What's happening here? Let's watch this bowl come back onto screen. She's not far away. Hazel Littlejohn drawing the shot. Just agonisingly short. That was close,
and it just
Dave.
drops back a little bit as well. If it had to drop the other way, well, even closer.
Yeah, beautiful.
But at the moment, just one again to Lynda Bennett.
So
making us wait.
Yeah, Lynda, the opportunity. This is sort of her first match bowl, so to speak. She's got an opportunity to sit with 21 points if she can get this one to count and put all the pressure in the world on Hazel Littlejohn. So we'll see how she's managed on the forehand side. We'll see the bowl come into screen now from your right to your left. And I don't think she's given it quite enough oomph. So Hazel Littlejohn was second and third shot.
And what are you going to do with Hazel Littlejohn here? Where would you put it? What would you try and do? Just take your time, nothing too spectacular?
Well, I think considering she's got second and third, you may as well be attacking because I cannot see how she could remove both the second shot, which is in the middle of your screen, and the third shot, which is to the right of your screen. So you may as well hit something. Even if you hit your last bowl to try and cannon Lynda out, you cannot go worse than one down here.
All right, so the
technical term,
the term
technical
hit something
terminology
has been put out there. Well, let's see how aggressive she is actually going to be here.
On the forehand side. It's hard to tell if she's played it with a... Oh, she's given it a look. And we've got the camera back online. And I think... upon reflection, that Hazel may regret that decision making. I think perhaps it would have been better to have a little nibble at that, but I'm not out there trying to play bowls. And we see 1 point there to Lynda Bennett on the brink now of winning this game, 21 points.
Well, she's been on that brink for the last 3 ends actually, and goes in now 20-8. And look as though she was beaten on that particular end, but then a spectacular bowl just edged in front. Let's see what Lynda Bennett can do on this particular end. Can she wrap it up? First to 21 and just one off. Winning this, well, she'll take on the winner of Anthony Broderick and Patrina Riley. And that'll be on rink 5. but we'll let you know how that one proceeds. And there'll be a semi-final. Of course, this is the Open Disabilities Singles as part of the Summerset National Singles and Pairs. Browns Bay Club is the main venue, along with, well, 18 or 19 other clubs around the Auckland region.
And right on that 20 points, Lynda will be wanting to finish it now.
Swinging it out wide. Very wide, but that might work.
Oh, it's just getting stymied by the wind there a little bit. See it, not only did it pull up, but it also swung across. So an okay first bowl, and there's a little bit of bark flickering around. On the backhand here, Hazel Littlejohn. That's the line. Now it's down to the weight. What weight has she got? Clinging on to this game. Needs to make a real run here.
Well, it looked like too much, but then it really got picked up and brought right
At the
around.
end, yeah, for sure. And a good bowl there from Hazel Littlejohn. She'll just be thinking, you know, I need to score some points. You don't think about winning it at 8:20 down. You think about just chipping away.
And just too little, too light. Well, at this stage, we're going to be holding on again for what would be the 19th end. Well, in fact, this is the 19th. We could be playing a 20th.
Yeah, sort of hanging on and keeping. I mean, if Hazel Littlejohn finds a way to win this game, it's going to go for some time, isn't it? Because they've kept it to 20 points already. Like, there's not been. I think we're seeing one big score, and we saw a 3 or a 4, maybe 2. Oh, where are we looking on there? Yeah, maybe 1 or 2 threes, but the majority of the scoring's been 1s and 2s here by these players, particularly the last few ends. If you look there at the top right, the last 5 or 6 ends have been in Lynda Bennett's favour, but 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So it's not a huge scoring thing. It's Lynda Bennett here just overplaying that bowl, and Hazel with a chance to score, Dave.
Well, we looked as though it was going in the ditch, but no, not quite. So it is one more for Lynda Bennett to try and wrap it up. 2 bowls for Hazel Littlejohn, the orange bowls.
Big bowl here on the backhand. Oh, she'll be so disappointed with that, particularly after her first bowl was right in the area. She's thrown one into the ditch and now one short and showing a bit of frustration.
Would you continue on the backhand, or would you swing it round if you were Lynda Bennett on the forehand?
You may as well stay on the backhand because you've already played it a couple of times, so she just needs to make that little correction. When the conditions are nicer, you can chop and change more often because you know what the line's going to do. But in conditions like this, it's easier just to make a correction on the same hand, as we see Lynda here.
Gone out too early.
Bad bowl.
So we could see Hazel Littlejohn say, no, that's enough on this one.
Yeah, but she won't because there's plenty of room.
Yeah,
there's plenty of room, so she'll take her.
She'll take her point. I still have an issue with that rule.
Oh, you're entitled to your opinion. Oh no, she may as well have. She'll be disappointed with that.
Yeah.
You're looking at that bowl. She's going to need a good result here. If she's got the right weight, she may get lucky, not to be, and just narrow out of her hand. And that bowl. A poor one there, but Hazel back on the scoring board, and I think we're going to see a change in length. I think she'll either move the mat right up or throw the jack to a different length to what she's been playing. It's the first time she's scored in 6 or 7 ends. Got to change something up. Here we go, Hazel with the mat. I'd expect this. I don't understand.
Oh, she's gone to the back again.
So maybe she's going to throw 2 to 2 then, so she may look to throw a long jack here.
Let's just wait and see where this jack goes. And how straight it goes as well.
Yeah, that's the question. So we'll watch the jack.
Kevin's got to do some work and
we'll
kick it back in.
Yeah, we'll get blown towards Kevin by the wind. Look at that go. That's insane. You actually have to take green with the jack. out. And And Lynda moving we saw her pick the mat up. She's moved it closer to this end as we see it by about a metre and a half, and we'll get the opportunity to deliver the jack. And if she can't keep it in bounds, the jack goes on the 2 metre mark, and then Hazel can put the mat where she would like. Lynda's turn now as we watch this jack. She's taken green, she's thrown it to our left, and we're going to see it get blown to our right as it goes. Now, is it going to stop? That's the question. The amount of times we've seen bowls go right to the end and just pull up.
Well, we do now have 2 people at the scoreboard there to just about hold it down. And so our scoreboard holder is, new word, at the other end.
Okay, I think that's worse than picker-upper, Dave, but each to their own. 20 points to 9. And as you were saying, Dave, after this game, Kevin, if you can hear us, we will have a chat to Kevin at the completion of this game, just for a summary of this and maybe a preview of the next, if we can see how Graham and Caroline's game is getting on. And we see that one there just fall a little bit short.
Certainly, Alex, I'll be available if you require.
There you go. Well, I'm just going to let these 2 bowlers play this out a little bit. Maybe just watch their expressions on their face as they come up to the mat.
It's getting to the real stressful part of a game. That's the thing I love about singles, Dave, is that it's not a set amount of ends. You have to get to 21 points. You have to play a winning shot. And the pressure can do funny things. Lynda there just navigating it well enough. She's holding the win. She's holding 21. We've seen, of course, a couple of famous comebacks, Dave. There was one at the Auckland Nationals 3 or 4 years ago. Tony Fabling playing Shannon McElroy, who was and is the reigning world champion in singles. And Shannon was 17-1 or 17-2 up and lost that game, 21-20 to Tony Fabling, one of the greatest comebacks of all time. A good shot there from Hazel Littlejohn, and maybe she's entertaining ideas of staging her own comeback, Dave.
I think she is just trying to keep it on the green and closest to the jack, because at the moment there's so much going against them. Forget about what your opponent is doing. It's more about what you're doing against the conditions. It's almost like a golf terminology that you're playing the conditions, not your opponent. Although
Absolutely.
At this stage, you can't forget about your opponent when she keeps on knocking it in. We're saying 1.
One there to Hazel Littlejohn. As we see, Erin Nurka just got away from the commercial manager for Bowls New Zealand, who's leaving us at the completion of this Nationals for the greener pastures of somewhere not here. It's announced her goodbye, so we'll bid a fond farewell. Erin there with the cameras, and has done a great job over the last 5 years. If you've seen anything branded Bowls New Zealand, it's often been Erin who's had something to do with that. She will be missed. One, says Kevin.
Still the 1.
Lynda Bennett now. Is she winding up? She looking like she's going to be aggressive. She's on 20.
Oh, there you go. There's that bark again.
That's fantastic. She's on 20 points. So she's only 1 away. And sometimes we see players get a bit aggressive when they're only 1 away. They can go jack in the ditch and then you can't beat it. Lynda here to win this game. This quarterfinal on the back end. With weight, she's not far away, Dave, of getting the jack absolutely plumb. She needs it square. It's getting pushed out. Oh, she's got the bowl instead.
Well, if nothing else, that worked. That's what she wanted. She's got 1. Could have more, but all she needs is 1.
Yeah, great shot there from Lynda Bennett and holding the win. This may be the last bowl that we see.
I think we saw a little bit of a grin, a little bit of a smile there. She knows she's got it, unless Hazel Littlejohn does something fairly dramatic here.
Yeah, find a little bit of magic on the back end. Here we go. She's not far away from her result. She could get both of them. Bang, bang. 1. Oh, she's got the jack in the ditch. Oh, stuff happening left, right and centre, Dave, but I think she's holding maybe 2.5.
So she gets it. Oh, my goodness.
Well, you said she needed to do something fairly dramatic, and that is exactly
she
what
did.
she did. A great bowl there from Hazel Littlejohn, and her hope's still alive in this game, this quarter-final of the Open Disability Singles.
Wow.
Great stuff, and holding 3.
3.
What a bowl there from Hazel Littlejohn.
So is there anything here that Lynda Bennett can do? Like, how could she counter anything there?
If Lynda has a toucher, which I can't remember, I don't think she does. So if you have a toucher, you can hit the toucher into the ditch.
Right.
But Lynda will probably try and get second shot.
Okay.
You might sit through one of the ones that's sitting up or right to the very end, but a very tough bowl to play here from Lynda Bennett to cut this count down. And a great shot there from Hazel Littlejohn, who was game down at that stage. We'll watch Lynda's bowl here on the forehand, looking to cut it down. She may have done so. It's hard to tell.
And let's see the reaction from Kevin.
A fair effort regardless. Kevin not making any indication at this stage. One conceded. Kevin, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
What do you think? Who do you think's holding?
Two shots to Hazel, I think. I think they're going to measure this. You measuring?
Brilliant.
Two shots. Jack's in the ditch. The toucher in the ditch is probably second shot. But yeah, that, I'm just talking to the commentary team.
2 shots, I think.
2 seems to be the consensus, Dave.
Yes, Lynda thinks it's 2, but they're certainly measuring with the Jack in the ditch.
So if it is the 2, then that'll take it to 11. And the little by little comeback does continue by Hazel Little. And she's just eking away.
Yeah, it's still alive. I mean, that's such a great last bowl.
2, Hazel? Yes, it is 2 indeed.
Cool, thank you, Kevin.
And there we go. After 20, it's just... well done to Hazel Littlejohn for keeping it going and keeping us going. Lynda Bennett 20-9 ahead. And Bennett from Te Awamutu Bowls Club, and it is Hazel Littlejohn from Darfield. Just keeps on chipping away. It's a very gradual and very slow chipping away.
Yeah, those are the sort of bowls you have to play though. And I mean, she was game down. If she can do that a few more times, because she was going to have to, let's be honest, Lynda's going to hold the win a few times. If Hazel is to get to 21 points, score 10 points in the same time that Lynda has to score 1, she's going to have to play some match-saving bowls. And of course, Lynda will have opportunities because Hazel can't afford to not score now. She has to score every end between now and the end of the game if she wants to win. So Lynda will always have last bowl until the conclusion of this game.
However, we could have a replayed end or a drawn end.
Yes, you could have either. Yes, so replayed end if either of them kills the jack outside, or if they draw 2 touches, or there are 2 bowls that can't be. And what a bowl there from Hazel Littlejohn, giving herself, I think, a little bit of confidence with that last one. If there are 2 touches or 2 bowls that cannot be separated, it's drawn end. No one scores any points. Though the end would count, so you just carry it down 1. So you'd have played 21 ends, but no difference. And Lynda here on the forehand side, switching to that straight hand. One down to Hazel's good bowl, but this one not far away either, Dave. She wants to get to that 21.
Just wait for that late turn. Has it got enough juice on it?
Oh, just short. And it's important here for Hazel. She's played one brilliant first bowl. She'll be thinking, there's no reason why I cannot do the same thing again. Knows how it feels. Out of her hand. Here we go. Second attempt here. Taking a nice line again. How's the weight, Hazel? Not a million miles away.
2 straight this time. 2 straight. Didn't quite have the turn, and it was just a little bit too late on the turn that it eventually did get.
Yeah, she ended up finishing in line with the jack, so just to push it a bit far. But I mean, to be fair, that may have felt exactly the same as the first bowl with these conditions. Lynda on the forehand again. Looks tight to me underneath the line. Holding it a long way. But I think just going to turn slightly too much. Her weight was very good there, Dave.
So at the moment, as it stands, with 2 remaining for each bowler, we have 1 point going to Hazel Littlejohn. Like I said, just one after one after one.
That's the equation for Hazel. On the backhand. See some workers in the background. And here we go. This is a good line again from Hazel Littlejohn, down to the speed. Looks a bit short at a glance. And it is a bit short there. Finishing in line with the jack.
Losing you in the wind. 1 to Hazel. You're 1 down.
And you could hear the call there from Kevin, and saying that Lynda Bennett is 1 down.
Not sure what they're talking about, but that's fine.
Having a bit of a laugh.
At least it doesn't look bitterly cold, does it, Dave, as we heard from Kevin?
I don't think it's cold. It's more unpleasant in the wind. Would that be a better way of putting it?
Yeah,
Unpleasant?
I would say. My goodness gracious me.
That's the straightest bowl we've had all day.
That's ridiculous. That's lucky.
How do you counter that?
That's just...
Are we measuring? Are we going to measure? No. We've got a blue lollipop.
She was a metre underneath the line there, maybe 2, and got a really good gust of wind there. But had good weight. If you look at the weight, her weight was good.
Alex, if you can hear me, that bowl went up the green with no more than 15 inches of green at any stage and finished 4 inches narrow against the breeze.
And Alex, you might want to repeat that just in case anybody didn't hear that.
Yeah, so Kevin just saying there that it took 15 inches of green and essentially didn't turn for the entire time, which it was just staggering to watch. The wind got it.
It's the straightest shot we've seen all day.
Yeah, purely environmental there. Lynda had good weight, to be fair, but purely environmental sort of thing. There was 2/3 of the way up, and the wind blew, and the bowl just stopped turning. And it's she's holding the win, but that'll be pretty gutting blow there for Hazel Littlejohn, who was looking for all the world like she was going to score another point on this end, but she's got a bowl in her hand. Another opportunity to try and save this game. And I think Hazel will have to be on the forehand herself, Dave. Follow Lynda's bowl down.
Let's wait for it.
Cool. On the backhand here, Hazel Littlejohn to salvage this game, to stay in with a chance. I don't think she's going to quite make it there, Dave. She has not done so.
It wasn't a bad bowl, but it's not really going to help her at all.
Yeah, not enough there, and we see Lynda Bennett take the win. 21 points to 11.
And indeed, yes, 21 to 11. It is Lynda Bennett from Te Awamutu going through to the semi-finals. That'll be this afternoon against either Anthony Broderick or Patrina Riley. Congratulations there to Lynda Bennett in the Open Disability Singles. And Kevin, if you're there, give us a couple of thoughts on what you actually saw.
Oh, I think these young ladies played extremely well in challenging conditions. Lynda Bennett was in front 7-3, 7-2, 8-3, and then Hazel came back to 8-all, and then Lynda, of course, then went on a 7-end run to go to 20-8 in front, and so it was that domination through those middle stages that, of course, got her out to that substantial lead. But the last bowl, I think the 21st shot really was a good summary of the game in some ways, that Lynda played where they hadn't played much, down the tight side, took no more than 15 inches of green all the way down. It held against the breeze and just drew the shot a foot away, 4 inches narrow of the centre line. And it will have been interesting, and I don't know what the other games did. It would have been interesting if somebody persevered with the tight side, I think, and trusted to stay tight. But I thought they played the wide hand extremely well, and it was a very good battle.
All right, thank you very much there, Kevin. We do appreciate your time during that contest. We're going to let you get inside and or maybe secure down some of those cameras because it doesn't
Indeed,
look
it's rough.
overly pleasant. All right, thank you very much there,
No,
Kevin. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Couple
Kev.
of
And I
spots
think
just coming down now.
now, Dave, we have some highlights from that game that we've just watched. Some highlights from that 21-11 victory to Lynda Bennett. And we'll be able to see, of course, a number
That
of
was nice.
shots here. I hope we got the last bowl of Lynda's that held up against the wind, Dave. We'll find out when we get to that.
Look at that one, just touching her own bowl, keeping even closer.
Yeah, that was sort of
This one curving around from Hazel Littlejohn.
remembering the Hazel Littlejohn has the orange bowls and Lynda has the blue ones. And we saw both the players, I mean, considering the conditions, play some pretty exceptional bowls.
And this one as well, just moving it back slightly. And another superb bowl.
Kevin Smith, thank you to him, of course, for providing commentary from the green.
Well, it's always nice to actually hear what's going on as well when you can hear the comments, whether it's about bark on the green or whatever.
For sure, as we see another good bowl here. Lovely stuff. Just so many, I mean, considering the wind, there's a lot of touches, weren't there, Dave?
There was, it really surprisingly was. We didn't see too many drives or anything like that. However, what they were able to do, sure, would have a couple of strays in each end, but then there would always be two, sometimes more, that would come in so close.
Yeah, for sure. And this here, the biggest bowl of the game from Hazel Littlejohn, kept herself in it.
Yeah.
Off that blue bowl, jack into the ditch to score two. And this is the last bowl, so let's watch this one.
That didn't deviate.
It's cutting across. It's trying to go across the line, and that's the wind there. And the wind again, just holding it up. By all rights, it would have felt like that bowl was going to hook across, but not to be.
Just,
Couldn't have gone better, that last bowl there from
20
Lynda Bennett.
centimetres on that one. And so it was a victory for Te Awamutu's Lynda Bennett over Darfield's Hazel Littlejohn. And we're going to let you know very shortly when we'll be back and who Lynda Bennett will take up on Anthony Broderick or Patrina Riley, plus also the bottom semi-finals. We'll let you know about those and who will be broadcasting a little bit later on. However, our crew outside have had a few little issues to stop the cameras flying away into West Auckland almost. So we'll let you know shortly where we're coming back from in just a moment, but we will remind you also that there are other results around, and of course we've had the men's pairs, the women's singles as well, and this is the open disability singles at the Summerset Nationals. We'll just wait for a few moments there. Alex?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've scheduled the game for a 2:30 start. So 2:30 we will be back, and we don't have the results for you yet. But like Dave said, just check out the Bowls New Zealand website and social media pages. Click the results, post-section results. It's big buttons that say post-section here. It's hard to miss. And then click onto the draw, and you'll be able to see who's done what, not only in the open disability singles, but also the men's pairs and the women's singles that are going on today.
So thank you very much. We'll be back at 2:30.
there's no one I can turn to. And I know all the feelings that we shared are in the past. And I know your relationships are never meant to last. And I'll take some time, but I'll be alright. We're moving on, we're moving on.
And welcome back to the Bowls New Zealand YouTube coverage of the Summerset National Singles and Pairs. We've been showing the Open Disability Singles. We showed a quarterfinal contest which saw Lynda Bennett come through in, what was it, 21-11 there, Alex, over Hazel Littlejohn. And we were going to be showing the semi-final between Caroline Crawford and Darren Wooland. And a little bit of an issue there at the moment. Alex, because the weather has been a little bit disruptive, you might say.
Yeah, that's an understatement. I think, Darren, we've had some pretty dramatic wind and rain, and for that reason, this game will not be broadcast due to the weather conditions. Our cameras keep getting blown over, and of course, they're pretty sensitive electronics, and they can't spend that much more time in the rain, although the players are going to attempt to by the looks. So I suppose all we can do is direct you for results to the Bowls New Zealand website, which you can see on the screen there, bowlsnewzealand.co.nz, and go to Bowls Hub Aotearoa, and that will have results of the games as they come in. But please keep in mind that it is pretty inclement weather, so there may be some delay in play today.
Yeah, as you can probably see, some clouds are getting whipped away, but the problem has been that you almost can't see through the camera lenses because of the rain and winds of up to 110 k's, which is not pleasant for anybody. Some of the palm trees, well, they're struggling. That one in the background is struggling to stay up, let alone the flags and anything else. And also I think the bowling's been affected as well.
Yeah.
So difficult for the competitors and the officials. For the officials to actually stand out there at times, it is very difficult for them, Alex. So we have seen some good bowls earlier on, as we did mention, Lynda Bennett against Hazel Littlejohn, and Bennett going through to the semi-finals, where she'll take on Patrina Riley, the other semi-final, as we said, Caroline Crawford up against Darren Wooland, and that contest from the South Island, the Deep South, in fact, Crawford from St. Clair, and Wooland from Waikiwi, from Southland. So good to have people from all around the country. In fact, Riley up the top, well, she's from Whakatane, and Bennett from Te Awamutu. Those are the four semi-finalists in the Open Disability Singles.
Yep. So I suppose on that note, just keep tuned onto the Bowls New Zealand website, and also, if the conditions permit, tomorrow, Dave, will be a full day of broadcast, simulcast on our YouTube channel and on a pop-up channel on Sky Sport.
And you'll be joined by Mr. Bowles, Kevin Hickman. He'll be there and loving it every second of it, I think.
Yeah. It should be. It'll be a good day, and it'll be the final of the disability singles, followed by the final of the women's singles, and then finally the final of the men's pairs.
That
All
is
things
a big
going
day.
well. So,
That is a big day. I'm not too sure about the weather, but things can change in Auckland within the hour as such. So keep an eye on that and enjoy the bowls. And that's it from me, Dave Worsley. Thank you very much there, Alex Reid.